Hello. Miss Gouchish, hi. So I was going to start my video, but I am officially locked inside my own greenhouse. It won't open. And just to be clear, showing up at someone's home unannounced, uninvited, for almost a month and a half straight, 4 to 5 times a week, and calling 2 times a day, every single fucking day, is not normal or acceptable behavior in any way. Hey, hello, and hi, everybody. My name is Daniel, and I want to preface this. I don't know if it's going to be short or long. I'm going to try and keep it short, but I'm going to preface this whole video by making very clear that I am not going out of my way to attack a single religion here. I'm mainly attacking a individual that has made my life a living hell for the past few months, and the local group, Kingdom Hall, that he belongs to, and the people that have gone with him and support him and assisted him in harassing relentlessly myself and causing stress and bothering my elderly sick mother. So this is not about your religion. If your religion is mentioned in this video, I will also say, some of you may remember a long time ago, a few months ago, I live by myself here in town. There's no friends or anything. And yes, I get very lonely. And so when some nice old man came by and it was like, hi, we're Jehovah's Witnesses, I immediately told him, oh, you're not going to do well here. My parents are staunch Catholics. I was raised Catholic. I have no interest in becoming part of a religion. And he said he was fine with that. He was like, well, I'd love to talk to it over you with coffee. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to join you for your religion, but if you just want to have someone to chat with, we can talk about religion in general and things like that. And he seemed very nice at first. But there were red flags in the very beginning. Some of you may know, I was in the military. I had 2 jobs. My first job was I was an airborne infantryman, part of a LRS group, which is long-range surveillance work. But after that, I was voluntold to become an interrogator, a human intelligence collector, which is human intelligence. And this is open source information, so it's not like I'm revealing classified information. But one of the things as a source handler and interrogator you learn is approaches. It's how to speak with people, how to interact with people, how to read people, how to understand what matters to them, what doesn't matter to them, what motivates them, what gets them excited and passionate, what makes them defensive, what makes them happy. And you attempt to connect on those issues with them. Now, as an interrogator, this can take countless hours, several 3 to 5 hour interrogations over weeks, days, weeks, longer, to get someone to be okay connecting with you in any way whatsoever, even if it's a negative connection. But you take your time to get to know the person. And it's like in the book Ender's Game, where I'm summarizing here, and they're just trying to explain to someone the only way to really know your enemy is to know them fully. And how can you not know someone fully, understand someone fully? Their motivations, their wants, their needs in life. How can you know all that and understand all of that about someone without loving them? And in the moment that he loves them, he destroys them. But I'm sorry, it's been such a stressful few months of a lot of symptoms, hallucinations and sleep, and the stress and anxiety from the situation has gotten out of control. And I'm sorry if I'm disjointed in this video. I very much want to say what I need to say and try and give some background to it. What I'm trying to say is I knew immediately that the elderly, friendly man thing, I felt he was using classic approaches on me. It's like love bombing almost. Feigning interest in my poetry, feigning interest in my history, my mental health, my diagnoses. He used a lot of feigning interest. And like I said, to really use approaches and understand someone, it takes an enormous amount of time to make a connection. These motherfuckers met me for coffee once for 30 minutes at Starbucks. And then the next time we met was at the park. And I thought we were just going to have coffee again. They kept me there for 2.5 fucking hours doing Bible study. And I mean Bible study like they have a second grade study book with like 3 paragraphs a page and huge letters. And they would ask me to read the first paragraph, which was like 4 sentences. I'm like, we are not in 3rd fucking grade, Bob. But what started all this, that whole meeting off on the wrong foot, and immediately I knew we had a problem, was one, they wanted to pray over me. I said, I am not comfortable with that. Maybe if we were inside a church or something, but there are random people walking around. I don't know you two that well. They're like, no, it'll be fine. And he placed the fucking hands on me. I said, I'm not good with that either. He's like, well, just hold on. And he punched that old fucking mustache off his Bob face. And his friend, by the way, who is severely disabled with the acutely painful gout, very overweight, has a complete walker. It's so hard for him to move around. It's so painful. By the way, he's actually friendly, and I think his heart comes from a good place. He's just stuck with Psycho Bob, Demon Bob. But Bob, who only has a cane, he can walk fine, realizes he left his coffee in his car, which is a good 150, 200 meters away. And I was like, well, I'll go get it. And I kind of joked. I was like, I'm obviously the most able-bodied person here. I'll get it. No problem. He's like, no. No, Darren will get it. Darren will get it. And I looked at Bob. I was like, are you sure, man? He's like, yeah, hey, Darren, will you go get my coffee? And that poor man pushes his way down there to get Bob's fucking coffee, struggles back. He's panting. His middle's just so hot, covered in sweat. Finally gets back to the bench, struggling breathing. He's rubbing his leg and also Bob could get his coffee. And between that and laying hands on me and demanding me pray and not telling me they wanted me to be there for 2.5 hours, and because I'm too polite of a person, I let that happen this one freaking time. So much. And the things he said in the meeting towards people of different sexual orientation, people of different beliefs, just, I think he probably referring to someone who's just different, who eventually told Bob, you know what, your religion is not for me. Bob was like, I don't know exactly. I think he died of AIDS. Starts laughing. He's like, I guess he should have accepted Jehovah. I went to one meeting at their Kingdom Hall. That was another 2.5 hours long. Or 2 hours long. One of the fucking two. That wasn't too bad because Bob couldn't talk. But let's just say I happened to be there when they discussed new dress codes for men and women, what's acceptable. I just laughed though because I had a huge beard at the time. I was 100% out of what their range was as acceptable. But anyhow, after that, he wanted to meet again. I told him I couldn't. And then one time he showed up without me knowing. I'm on my porch, so then I have to talk to him. And he stays there for like 45 minutes when I tell him I'm busy. And then I specifically informed him because I do not like people showing up like that if I don't know if they're coming. And I specifically informed him, oh, by the way, do not come over without letting me know. Because first off, if I'm not home, it's my mom, who's elderly, ill, and cannot move around very easily. She's home alone. People randomly coming and knocking on the door makes her feel very unsafe. I feel very uncomfortable if someone shows up and surprises me like this. It's with the way I deal with paranoia and such, you can't do that again. Okay, so either we have to have a plan to meet up. I invite you over. It's an accepted time that we've all agreed upon. And even then, I need you to call me before you head over to let me know that you're heading over. He's like, okay, when can we set up a next meeting? I was like, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out. 2 days later, he shows up uninvited again. Because he'd called the day before and I didn't answer. He just fucking shows up when I'm on the porch doing my reading thing again, I'm writing, and then I'm stuck with him for an hour and a half. And this turns into a fucking thing where I keep telling him you can't do that, and then he keeps trying to get closer physically, like touching me and shit. And I hear, even when I'm not home, Mom will be like, hey, I think Bob just showed up. And it turned into a thing where he is showing up 4 to 5 times a week, uninvited, unannounced. He doesn't call, text, fucking anything, completely ignores my boundaries, completely ignores my wishes, shows up. If I'm there, he forces me to sit there and fucking talk to him and tries to download Bible shit on my computer. If I'm not there, he leaves calling cards and pamphlets and notes. And then he'll call me 3-4 times a day. He'll show up, like I said, 4 or 5 times a week, all uninvited, all unanswered. Eventually, I send him a text telling him, you need to stop. I'm sorry, I am in no way interested in joining your church. You have been ignoring my boundaries. You've been ignoring my requests, and I am stating it plainly now. You have got to stop doing this. Don't show up at my house anymore. Don't call me anymore. I wish you the best of luck. He shows up the same day I send that text. Luckily, I see the car coming in, and I dive off the porch, effing up the side of my body because I have to squeeze through these little gaps between the stuff on the porch. And I hide in the backyard, and he's in my driveway for 10 minutes. And he keeps doing that. And I send him another warning. And he does it. And he's been doing it for a straight month and a half. I can't sit on my porch. I can't open my door without looking outside, without looking out the window. My phone is constantly going off with either his number or his friend's number or someone else from their church's number. All sense of safety and security and peace is fucking gone. It is unacceptable. It is absolute harassment. And I was trying to be polite, but I'm not going to be fucking polite anymore. I had my dear friend of mine who's a lawyer drafted up a letter just legally telling, like, we're sending it to the church, not even him. I sent it to the fucking church itself to tell them of his behavior and his partner's behavior and everyone's behavior that has partook in this, and if they did not stop, they would be taking action. This is, at this point, absolute harassment, and he has no business coming onto my property anymore, and if he does, I reserve the right to protect myself, my property, my family, and I'm gonna go to war with this son of a bitch if he does not stop. Bob, if you're watching this somehow, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at the camera. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? And remember all those approaches and things like that? Like, so many red flags. I should have paid attention. A lot of you warned me. Honestly, I just want someone to talk to and have fucking coffee with, and you can't even do that anymore with people. The anxiety I feel. I have to wake up at 5:30 just so I can have like an hour and a half to myself on the porch early in the morning before I have to start worrying about someone pulling up. And then I'll hide in the backyard. And that determines when I go to bed, because now I have to wake up early for that, if I go to bed at all. The stress and anxiety induced by this making me, I haven't wanted to physically harm someone in a long time like this, man, but why? And yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let y'all know. Yeah, be careful, strangers. Don't be polite with people who show up to your house. Don't be nice. Don't try and meet up for coffee. You're trying to bully me because you think I'm vulnerable and alone without having any strong will to do what I want to do in life, and you have picked the wrong person. Just stop. Please. Please. Mid-November. Look. That is a swarm nest of yellow jackets, and now they're pissed at me. After meeting for coffee with you, and I told you that I don't really believe in a lot of what you guys were saying, and he said, well, if you have questions, bring them for our next meeting and we'll go over them, and I would love to hear your poetry. Bring those, and any thoughts you might have to discuss with us, we would love to hear them. I took the time to deeply research what is the doctrine of what you believe in. I took the time to write out a list of very respectful, honest questions, and I picked out 2 or 3 happy poems for you. And I expected to sit down for 30, 45 minutes for coffee with you. Instead, y'all picked me up, which I was stupid enough to abide by, and I was stuck with you for 2.5 hours. And every time I brought up a question, you said, we'll get to that later, forcefully. Every time I stopped you to say, again, I don't want to study a pamphlet, I want to speak. You said, okay, but first let's read these. Hey, I brought some poetry. Oh, we'll get to that later. You can't force someone to follow you, and you're not going to get someone to follow you, understand you, empathize with you, and want to take the time to get to know you if you are so blatantly ignoring every concern, question, and subject that I bring up.